Today for us to start doing some standing and some fighting to back that
There's a lot of ways that you can connect, what happened between Gucci and Jeezy to, what's going on in Chicago, or really just everywhere. I saw somebody on Joe Budden, I can't remember which one of them it was, said the streets are hungrier than ever right now. You know what I mean? And when you talk about like the amount of violence and gun violence in particular, the way it affects our people, it seems like it's at an all-time high right now. But that's in any situation where you look at a civilization where people are struggling, people are hurting, it's gonna be violence. It's gonna be people that are willing to risk their lives, literally, just to make sure they got a meal or a roof over their head the next day. So, times are desperate, and, it's important that we all move accordingly with that, but still not, I try to look at it like, I'm not walking in fear. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of just worrying too much about what may happen, or somebody trying to, come at me in a way that I'm gonna have to think about life or death. You know what I mean? But at the same time, that's just the times that we living in right now.
A lot of us, have kind of grew up in that. Like, I come from New Jersey. That's not Chicago. But Brick City, Newark, New Jersey. Prince Street projects. And when I grew up, there were gangs, Bloods and Crips and stuff like that. In our neighborhood, it was more like blocks. You know what I'm saying? So you had like blocks that protect their block and stuff like that, but growing up in the 80s, you got a chance to kind of see it evolve, with the crack era, with crack coming into the communities and it becoming that economy for some of these gangs, you know what I'm saying? And, me being a Panther, as a young Panther, I got an opportunity to work with a lot of the different gang members, you know what I'm saying? And see that, these were intelligent brothers. They weren't just any old person on the street, you know what I'm saying? And so to see what's happening in Chicago, is devastating. But I think it's partly our responsibility as a community to say, listen, because these are brothers and sisters and cousins, right? So these are folks that we need to have conversations with, you know what I'm saying? And so as a community organizer, you can't have fear when it comes to taking care of your community.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I'm so connected to, like I said, I'm in New York right now. I just got here today, and I'm sitting next to my brother who's actually, gang affiliate. He's in the gang, so that's how close to home it is for me. And fear, fear is not even real, man. Like even if you were to be getting attacked by a lion right now, it'd be smarter to be conscious than to be fearful. You'd have a better chance coming out on top with 10 other emotions other than fear. Fear, freezes you up and puts you in a position to be under attack. But no, there shouldn't be no fear because, again, a lot, I wanted to say what you were saying about the times now, why the crime is so high and all that. You got to remember that now, when we were growing up in the 80s, we were just influenced by CDs and tapes. Now they're influenced by the internet, it's crazy. When I'm in these studios and I'm dealing with some of these artists beforehand, and I see their social medias and they're these gangsters, and I'm like, I believe it. I'm like, they gotta be. And then you get in the studio with them, and I can't tell you how many times that happened where it was like, you're the same guy because I'm the opposite. I was really living that life, but I didn't show guns. I didn't talk. Although I have a video going into Walmart with an AK, that was on some
video, right?
Yeah, the infamous video, but that was young and that there was no clout. There was none of that. We just did that because we were bored and high and figured we'd get away with it just like we did. But now these young people are being influenced where they're seeing killers. We have to be. It's crazy how many people and I think more guns are being pulled out of fear than cowards are doing more shooting than.
Oh yeah,
Jason, that's an excellent point. Jason, real quick, because that reminded me of something I was thinking on. And this past weekend, they had the Tyson Roy Jones thing, right? And Nate Robinson, was like the tagline that everybody was talking about after the fact, is how we got knocked out and everything. And one of the memes that I saw going around was from Friday, right? It was Pops for Friday. He was talking to Craig, like, what you need a gun for? All you need is these. You know what I mean? Like, but when I was thinking about that, like, that's funny now. Like, that type of thinking seems dated in today's concepts, like when everything shut down back in March, I had a homie who, was giving me updates on, going to the gun store, talking about the lines and how, like, the same way people was running to the grocery store to get toilet paper, people was running to the gun store. You know what I mean? People was preparing for, like, the like the zombie apocalypse. You know what I mean? So, like, people's fear, again, like, speaking of that mentality, is at an all-time high. People's distrust and thinking that, just the next man is out to do harm to them. But the internet, like you said, when we was growing up, it was very, when you talk about all these things like bullying, because I've had some experience working with teens too, like, these kids now, they grew up in an era where World Star, you know what I mean? And, like, it's almost like getting exposed and getting publicly humiliated is on a totally different scale than what it was when, when we was coming up, if something crazy happened, like, we probably all grew up with some kid that might have had to move out the neighborhood because something happened. And their parents was like, oh, yeah, we just want to get them away from that. Now it's like on the internet and social media, it's on a much larger scale. So nobody wants to get World Star. Nobody wants to get embarrassed or humiliated, like on a Nate Robinson level. And I think that does contribute to people's willingness to, it's like, well, if it's going to be you or me, it's going to be me.
Being named Nate, I have to say that being embarrassed, the one thing about being embarrassed is you never know when you're going to have something happen, but you never want to look at it like, when you go through something that embarrasses you, like, oh, I'm special and nobody else would go through that. Because anybody can go through the things that we go through in life. Like, anybody boxer can get knocked out. If you're a boxer, you got to be willing to get in there and get knocked out. Like, play basketball, you can get dunked on. Even though I can say things like, if you can say I never got dunked on, cool, but you can also say you probably didn't play long enough. You know what I'm saying? But, shout out to everybody who tried and failed. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to try to do that too often.
Pick yourself up and you keep going, right? Like, that should be the mantra. That should be the black man's mantra, right? We got to pick ourselves up and we got to keep going. Wow. And, like, you talk about, like, moving with fear and stuff like that. Like, I think about, like, the history of a lot of these organizations and groups, right? Like, a lot of their history come out of the Black Panther Party, out of the Young Lords Party, out of the Tampa Rays. Like, these were revolutionary organizations, that tried to do something for their communities. And a lot of the mission has gotten lost.
Right.
And so, like, these are our brothers, these are our cousins, these are our sisters, our father. Like, there's no way that we as a community shouldn't be able to, like, have those discussions with our brothers and our cousins about what's going on in our communities. But see, what's happening here is a lot larger than that, in my opinion. It's like, you think about, like, a lot of these folks are, like, in the streets trying to make money. It's like, yeah, I got to make money. And then some of the folks have just been in, forever. It's just like, this is something I did when I was younger, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, I think that part of it is us trying to create some sort of economic plan within our community so we don't have to look at our associations as if we have to be able to fight and kill each other over them. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of it's economics, what I'm saying, when you get down to the bottom of it.